What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast for another episode of Black Friday. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host, Freddie G, Slash, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Welcome, fellas, to another Black Friday episode. Fellas, you remember back in the day when we were in elementary, well, not necessarily elementary, but we were preteens in middle school and high school. We all wanted a sense of belonging where we felt we needed approval or validation on everything we did. You guys remember any of that? Does that relate to either of you guys?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because I can recall when I was in school, I wanted to fit in so bad to where I'm not going to say I necessarily did anything, but it's just, again, trying to find a sense of belonging to where, the more you felt comfortable, the easier I think things went. And I'm just wondering, if that resonated into being, into our adulthood. And what I'm trying to get at is basically, if you have an idea on doing something, do we necessarily need to get validation to follow through with it, or are we comfortable enough in what we're aspiring to do to carry on with it? And I feel like nowadays we do seek that validation just to feel that sense of success. Do y'all agree with that or disagree?
I agree, depending on how big of the mission, I guess that's the best word to use, how big, what you're trying to do, how big it is. Like
if you have an idea on something and your mind is set on it, if one person gave you a negative comment on that, would that deter you from wanting to do it, or would you continue marching forward and trying to press on to what you had your idea on?
That's a good one. I'm glad you said it that way. I had before I started comedy, I had a homegirl, and I'll never forget. I was sitting in my living room, and in my living room, my dining room had a nice table over there. When she was sitting at the table, and I looked at her and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna start comedy. I'm gonna start going to comedy, going to stand-ups, doing that." And she
didn't take it serious.
Yeah. And then, not that I made it, but I've accomplished a lot. I've had 5 cancer awareness comedy shows. I've done shows with a lot of different people, just niche, quite a few comedians, just right off the top of my head. And I've accomplished. But if I would have not did anything because of her laughter and just said, you know what, maybe I could, I would have been defeated. So yeah. Sometimes you do need that validation, but sometimes when you get those people that laugh like that,
it's motivation.
It's more motivation. So it's like a validation that I needed.
So you say you accomplished. I'm sorry, Freddie G. Hold on. You said you accomplished. You felt like you accomplished a lot, and that was without receiving any validation.
Correct.
Just receiving validation from the initial person that you shared that with.
It was a negative to me. For her. It was a negative validation. Same instance, same time frame. I tried the first time I tried in Dallas. I had great success in Dallas. They loved me up there. But then when I moved back to Houston, Houston was different. The first person I went to is Ali Sadiq. And first of all, shout out to Ali Sadiq. Shout out. This is no shot against you at all. But he told me no. He had a stand up over at Dreams. Was that one across from Dreams? What's his name? I can't remember the name of it. The place that was right across from Dreams. He had a stand up hour over there, and he would get all the great comedians to come over. So I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, Ali, I want to do stand up." And I ain't gonna lie, the way I said it, he probably wasn't taking me serious.
Had he heard of you or known?
No. So, it's open mic.
Oh, okay.
So I would think he would let me on, but he was like, no. And I didn't press him. Maybe if I had a press it and act like I wanted it, possibly. But him telling me no was like a form of validation. He didn't say it disrespectfully. He just said no. So that made me strive forward to do it because he said no.
Right. Like
so there was a form of validation, but it's not the nod, the head nod, yes, validation. It was more of, you got to go out there and show me you want to get it. And that's what I did.
Got you. Freddie G, you had something to say?
Yeah. So, K-Money, you mentioned something earlier at the beginning, at the top of the show, where you mentioned, give an example of us as kids.
Right.
And trying to fit in and things of that nature. So, I actually believe that it's really all about your DNA and what you're made up of. Because as kids, you can be a confident kid, or you could be a kid that's lacking confidence for whatever reason.
Right.
And if you're a kid that's lacking confidence for whatever reason, that could go on all the way through your adulthood. That can go all the way up through your adulthood. So if you're that person that believes in yourself, you don't need validation from nobody. If you say, you know what, I'm finna go do this here. Mm-hmm. You ain't got to look for amens from nobody to do it. Now, you may want to bring people along who you feel they can do the job too or help do it too. But now, if you got it in you, you ain't gonna go look for validation. Mm-hmm. You just gonna go out there and do it. If you say a duck can pull a truck, hook it up.
So I think as far as validation is concerned, with the way things are now, this big social media world, everything needs validation, and that's how a lot of people are actually able to monetize off of this. So coming up as a kid, yes, there were certain times where you look for validation, like K-Money, like you said, in order to fit in. There was this validation thing. You had to be the cool kid, right, or something about you had to make other kids want to hang around you. But I think as we get older, past the teen stages, your self-personality starts to, show itself. And like Freddie G mentioned, it's kind of, your background. If you're a strong-minded person, then you're not seeking validation from nobody to do something that you want to do. But again, today in this social media world, everything has to have validation, which is why there's a lot of people losing careers and all kind of stuff, because the stuff that's going on and people are validating foolishness, right, to cancel culture.
I was about to say that too.
And that's one of the reasons, I thought to do this show is because and I'm glad you mentioned social media, because that alone is what made me think, okay, damn, people out here doing things just to get, likes.
That's validation.
And validation.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But like you said, Slash, it could be some of the dumbest shit.
Right.
But if they're successful at it and getting a lot of likes, then they're going to continue doing it, which doesn't make sense to me. It's just changing the whole dynamic of how we operate nowadays.
We're validating the wrong things. If you go, like you said, on social media, we're validating twerking. We're validating just stupid stunts. People jumping. Remember the crate? The crate thing, when they come out there, the crate challenges.
Building it up and
walking across and we validating stuff. Yeah, you can do it.
The
leg broke, everything.
Ice water challenge shit.
Ice water, but you ain't validating this doctor bill, but you laughing your ass off. And to me, a lot of things that's being validated are negative. It's not. I know it's some positives, very few, far few in between. But most of the things that are being validated are stuff that it's more like dares or I bet you won't do it. type validation. You know,
kid stuff. The
kid
stuff we
yeah.
did as kids. It's just now the kids are older.
Yeah. Freddie.
So K Money.
Yes, sir.
With today's Black Friday, right? Today's Black Friday show. Are you saying that the black race is the race that goes out to seek more validation? Or I mean, help me to understand. Like,
I'm leaning more on the black. I feel like us as blacks do seek validation more than other ethnicities, and for whatever reason. But you mentioned something earlier when you spoke, and you talked about confidence, and I think positive validation can build one's confidence to where eventually they will have that sense of doing things without hearing that negative critique to where it'll detour you or shut you down totally. But then Comedian 96 says something that I hadn't thought about, which was negative validation, which can also be helpful, if you use it in the right manner and not let it detour you, use it as motivation. But more or less, I feel like we as a culture do seek out validation. I was just wondering whether or not, not wondering, but is it really needed, to be successful?
So here's the thing. Possibly, depending on what you're doing. Let me elaborate. So when you're going out and you're seeking this validation, where are you seeking it from? Are you seeking it from people in your own community? Or are you seeking validation from people from other communities?
More or less your peers.
Okay, so now your peers could be a mixture of people. Let me give you an example. Let's say I'm a rapper, and I feel that I'm damn good, and I put this, and I'm going to seek validation. Well, there are white rappers, there's Hispanic rappers. Those are my peers.
I agree. Those are your peers.
So when we're saying when you're saying seeking validation, I think that it depends on. I think seeking validation can be good because it can let you know whether or not you're onto something, or if you need to go back to the drawing board, because you'll get healthy critique, on what you're doing. If you're a rapper and I'm seeking validation from my peers, then that means that there's different ethnic groups.
Right, I agree with that. But when you mention rap, mm-hmm. the first you're visualizing a black person normally when you mention rap. So you're stereotyping it for one, but 9 times out of 10, if you mention rap, the first thing a person is going to think of is that person is black. So I would think a white rapper would be seeking validation from, even though, like you said, all ethnicities are rapping nowadays, but I'm thinking that they're seeking validation from, more or less the black rappers than they would a white rapper.
I think that that's because of the dominance. The black culture is dominating damn near everything.
Correct.
And so when you're seeking this validation, so that's why I ask you, it could be a good thing if you're seeking validation. Am I seeking it from my own culture, or am I seeking it from other cultures as well?
Question: do you think that it matters where it comes from, if or being selective on the type of validation that you receive or let affect you? Do you think that that's important?
Well, I don't think it should affect you negatively, no matter. So let me elaborate. So if you're seeking validation, right, and wherever it comes from, if it's negative if you're seeking this validation and they give you some negative feedback, I don't think that should affect you negatively, because that's just one person's opinion.
I agree.
Now, if you're looking for validation and you receive positive feedback, that also can actually affect you negatively, because now you could be overly confident about what you're doing. So I think it depends on the product and what you're seeking validation in. Like if for instance, we have this good podcast, a great podcast, good concept. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there's any other podcast like it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if we're going out and I'm trying to seek validation from somebody who's not in the podcast world, then it's like, well, damn, I shouldn't let this person get me down because they don't know all of the hard work behind the scenes that go on with doing podcasting.
Correct.
And so they have no clue. All they're seeing is the finishing product. They may not like the finishing product, but they don't know the hard work it took to get to the finishing product.
Right.
Now, if it's somebody that's doing a podcast and they're successful in the podcast, and they tell me, okay, look, I see what you're doing here, and your podcast is not all that great, but I can see the work that you put in. Mm-hmm. You may need to fine tune it in certain areas here or there, but I think it's kind of wishy-washy. It's not that good. Mm-hmm. Well, I can accept that because that person is in the podcast world and they're giving me their opinion, although it's just one person's opinion, but I can take that and use that as fuel to better the podcast.
Right.
So selective validation is what that sounds like to me.
Okay, I can see that, but elaborate.
So when you say you accept it from somebody that already has a podcast, that are they doing better than what your podcast be doing? Is that why you've validating?
Well, I can receive it better coming from somebody. First of all, whether their podcast is better than ours or not, I can receive it a little bit better because I know that they know the journey it took to get to where I'm at. And if they're giving constructive criticism, then okay, I can receive that a little bit better from somebody that's leaving a critique on YouTube about a particular show and say y'all don't know what y'all doing and blah blah blah, y'all, and then goes on
negative,
about not just the show, but the whole podcast in general, not knowing all of the work that's behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So in a sense, it is.
It's a selective validation. And that's okay to be selective with what you're validating.
Yeah, of course.
And the reason why I say that is because any venture that you begin or you're starting, whether it's with you or whether it's by yourself, there has to be some form of validation there, whether you getting validation or ideas from somewhere, or if somebody's telling you, hey, maybe you should try this, da-da-da-da. I think validation is good in all cases, especially if it's something new that you're doing, because a lot of times people don't just step out on faith and don't know that it's not been validated.
Right.
It makes no sense to do that. That's not a smart business move. Now, not needing to be validated is you saying, okay, this morning I'm gonna get up and I know I'm finna go take care of my business. That don't need to be no validation. But if it's something that you getting ready to start a venture or trying to get something creative going or any kind of motion on something, needs validation.
Yep.
Honestly.
Exactly. It does. And it doesn't matter, again, like I said earlier, I take the negative and the positive validations. I take them both because take this podcast again, like Freddie G said.
Well, not to cut you, but here's the thing. If it's any kind of negative validation, that means you've encountered a hater for doing what you're supposed to be doing.
That's what I was going to mention.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Take this podcast. Say if it's 100 people, and 99 say your podcast suck because of y'all don't blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Just say maybe, I don't know, y'all don't talk about, we talk about everything, but just something we didn't talk about. Paint. Let's just take paint. We didn't talk about paint. And 99 people say that. Y'all don't talk about this. Y'all don't talk about home improvement. None of that. But then you got the one person, man, keep doing what you're doing. I like that one person. That's my validation.
That one over the 99. That one supersedes that 99.
That one supersedes that 99. But those 99s that told me they didn't like my show, like Freddie G said, I'm gonna take heed to what they just said. All right, let me talk about a home improvement show. Out of that 99, if only one person said, man, I like that show, okay, I know I'm going somewhere.
And if you do have 99 people saying that you ain't talked about paint, then what do you take out? Validate yourself and say, you know what, I need to talk about paint.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
but see, you have those that's just the opposite of that. You have 99 that say you doing good, and then that one motherfucker that be like, it ain't shit. And it's a lot of people out there that'll let that one negative critique affect them,
and
to
they
where
just give up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to get at. Is it worth that one negative critique stopping critique?
I think that's honestly, I think that's the individual.
The lack of confidence.
I think that's the individual, and somewhere down the line, when it comes to that particular individual, it could have started in childhood. Somewhere they were scarred. They didn't get the right boosting, for lack of better words, that they needed
to build the self-esteem up,
to have confidence, self-esteem about themselves.
That's because there was no love involved in that household. If it's love in your household, that changes the game, man, because it opens your heart, for number one, to accept certain stuff that doesn't change whether you need validation. I mean, that doesn't change the negative to where you need to be validated or worry about the negative validating you. So I just think, like you say, yeah, it could have started in home, but the ones that need validation for certain stuff as kids, there was just not the type of love in that household because they're bitter. Something they maybe they're not bitter, but maybe they take things in a bitter form.
Yeah. Then too, man, I do believe that it does matter where the validation is coming from. Let me give you an example. When you're a child and you do something good at school, you look for validation from your mom or your dad. Hey, mom, look at this. Or if you clean your room, hey, mom, I clean my room, look. You may not say it in that way, but you're looking for that validation and that approval of mom or dad to say, good job, good job.
Yeah.
If you're playing sports and your dad come over, hey, good job, I like what you're doing,
like
man.
that hit. Yeah.
You really, and that's boosting self-esteem. Now, on the flip side, or looking at it from a different angle, man, using this podcast again. Man, if Joe Blow come tell me, hey, man, I listen to your podcast, I like it, it's good, man, I sure appreciate it, man, thank you.
Yeah.
So-and-so come, I like your podcast, it's doing good, I appreciate it, thank you. And I get that from 100 folks, right? Then one day Tyler Perry come up and say, hey, I like your podcast. Or 50 Cent, hey, I like your podcast, man, it's doing good, man, y'all podcast is, man, it's nice. Now when I go and tell this story, I done got 100 before I got to Tyler Perry or 50 Cent. But when I tell that story, I'm going to tell, man, 50 Cent like my podcast.
Right.
Tyler Perry like my podcast. I ain't even talked about the 100 people that came up prior to them.
Right.
When I tell that story. So where the validation comes from does matter.
Well, hopefully, if Tyler Perry and 50 Cent validated, then they got a few funds to make it jump off. Validate that.
Really?
I feel that. You mentioned a very important thing, Freddie G. The validation from our parents, which is why I did start off. Like I said, us at an early age, but I also meant the validation from our peers as well as our superiors, which I think our parents would fall up under the category or the umbrella of being our superiors at that time. So I think as we grow, we definitely do seek, that approval or validation from our superiors. But I think what holds the most weight may be the validation from our peers. My black fact for today, man, I wanted to basically just shout out everybody out there that stayed on track. If they had a vision to do something, they stood on track and didn't let anybody deter them from doing anything. Like yourself, Comedian 96, with your comedy shows and the previous business you had with the Papa Lock.
Yes, sir.
Same with you, Slash, your musical venture, you being a producer. I don't know if you listeners know it or not, but the intro that you guys hear at the beginning and at the end of every show is from our very own Slash, which shows you how talented he is. And Freddie G, with you having this vision, we talked about the podcast throughout this show. You having that vision and considering us to complete that vision, I don't know what type of validation, if any at all, that you receive, but once you presented it to us, we seemed to like just mash the gas and do it our way. And in my opinion, I feel we've been successful. So my hat goes off to all those out there that take that validation, whether it be negative or positive, but you use it as motivation and you just keep on keeping on. This concludes another Black Friday episode. And be sure you tune in next week for another dope episode of Music Monday with Slash. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Scott Podcast.